And you learn quickly that he is a piece of trash. Piece of trash. September has started, which means in my head that it is fall. Don't really care what anybody else says. It's fall to me. Therefore, I'm going to recap my summer reads for y'all. Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Kiera, and this is my channel. We have fun over here. We do a little bit of everything. If you're not new here, you already know what to do. Drinks in the back. Relax. Sit down. We finna get into it. First book that we read this summer was Kill the Next One by Federico Axat. Federico. And I want to give kudos to this book because it's actually written in Spanish originally, I believe. It was translated in English for the audiobook in the regular book, but it flows so effortlessly, you wouldn't know that it was originally written in Spanish. Like, it wasn't choppy. It didn't feel like I was watching like a dub movie on Netflix where the mouth doesn't match the audio. So Kill the Next One is about a guy. He's about to unalive himself, and he has a plan. He's literally in the middle of about to do it. Like, he's in the middle of the action to do it. And then there's an interruption by a knock at his door. So he stops what he's doing. Don't know why, but he does. He goes to answer the door, in which he is given a proposition of, hey, if you do this thing for me, I can make it so that what you were just about to do looks like somebody else did it, so that your family doesn't suffer because of what you were about to do. And from there, we keep reliving this experience in a way that in Act 1 keeps you a little bit confused, where you're like, what am I listening to? What am I reading? But then once you get into the story a little bit deeper, you realize what's happening, and puzzle pieces start to fit together to where you're like, okay, this is going somewhere. I need to strap in. I need to tune in. I need to get ready. And get ready you need to, because it takes you on quite the journey. By the end, you'll be like, got it. That's why. And just when you think you got it, you don't. So I gave that book 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, just because there was a little bit of repetition and some elements that just didn't land for me. But overall, it was a really good read. I would read it again, and I recommend it. The next book was a 5-star read of the summer, Take a Hit, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. Now, if you have seen my previous book recommendation videos, you know that I love me some Talia Hibbert, and I love me some Brown Sisters. And I just love how the author writes Black women. But the author creates a very refreshing telling of a Black woman living her life. And it just feels so real and authentic, to where you feel like listening to the book, I felt like I was listening to my friend talk about her dating life, like on FaceTime, or just I was her friend that was off to the side going through all these experiences with her. And like the experiences feel so realistic, where you're like, that could totally happen. Nothing is super far-fetched. I mean, all of the Brown Sister books are about the sisters being loved in a way that they didn't expect. It's spicy, so, you know, maybe you don't listen to it in public, but it's a really good book. And the narrator is awesome, hilarious. Like, she knows how to read a book, okay? Next up, we have Mad Honey. Now, I gave this 4 stars on Goodreads, and it's by Jodi Picoult. Jodi. Now, I'm not spoiling the story by telling you this, but it's classified as a mystery thriller. I don't know if I would consider it that. It's more so like a contemporary suspense, love, romance, young teen love, what won't a mother do for her son combination of things. But it's about a beekeeper and her son and his girlfriend, Lily. And so you learn about this trio and kind of how they interact with each other. The mother has a great relationship with her son. She has a great relationship with his girlfriend. But then one day you learn, she learns, the beekeeper, mama, she learns that her son is in jail and his girlfriend has been unalived. And you might be thinking, what happen. You learn what happens. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it does tell like a kind of ironic story about the justice system and like the court of public opinion, and how you could be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and no matter what, just the circumstances just point to you. No, even if what you're saying is the truth, you're still looked at as you're lying. So it was a lot going on. There's a twist. There's quite a few twists, but there's a lot of real life issues that happen in the book. So I've even seen people like give the book 1 star because they felt that it tried to touch on too many like woke topics, which in itself is kind of insane because these woke topics are experiences that everyday people are experiencing every day. This isn't a woke, politically pushed agenda book. It's literally how people live their life. So yeah, go into it, and you'll quickly understand what I mean. I gave that 4 stars. I probably wouldn't read it again, but I do recommend it. So my next 5-star read, The Bitter Truth by Shanora Williams. Now, I love a good book that takes place in the vicinity or like a location that I'm familiar with. And this book is about a North Carolina governor who is running for re-election. And it's around Black characters. This is an African-American based book. And this book revolves around this man running for governor and his wife, Jolene. If you're familiar with the name Jolene and what kind of actions are associated with Jolene, the same thing happens in this book. We're given an image of this perfect man running for governor, but that image is quickly shattered as we encounter multiple point of views, back and forth on timelines and occurrence of events. There's a lot of flashback. Like there's so much that happens to where all these skeletons just are coming out of this man's closet. And you learn quickly that he is a piece of trash. Piece of trash. And there is a content warning in the book. The author gives the disclaimer, but there is like a very touchy subject in there that, even though I was warned about it, I was still reading like, oh, this is happening. Okay, so, be careful while reading the book. If you need to take a minute while you're reading or listening, do that. Don't sit through anything you don't need to sit through. You can totally fast forward and get the point of the book once you start reading. I was telling anybody who would listen that like, if Tyler Perry was to make a movie and he hired writers, this would be a great book to adapt into a movie. I have characters casted and everything in my head. So Tyler Perry, if you want to get in contact, let me know. We could do some big stuff with it. Just let me know. And I really love this book too because it's a book about redemption for Black women, and it's about like Black women sticking together. It's one of those books that makes you be like, oh, if I was her friend, I would totally do what I need to do. I would be on my Liam Neeson taken by like, you know how you check your friend location and she'd be like, I'm gonna go on a date. Here's the details. Here's a license plate. Just think that if something went wrong and you had to jump into action to save your friend. That kind of determination. 5 stars all throughout the book. Next up is Tear Me Apart by J.T. Ellison. Now, I've read J.T. Ellison's books before. I don't know if I've actually given a review for any, but she's a good author. I like her books a lot, and I like her writing style. So Tear Me Apart is yet another thriller suspense novel about a young teen Olympian. She's about to try out for the Olympic team. She's a skier. She's super famous. Like everybody knows this girl. It's like Caitlin Clark, but skiing. She's skiing. She has an accident, and the accident causes her to be in the hospital, to which she gets more bad news in the hospital, to which she gets more bad news after that bad news. This isn't a spoiler. You can read this on the back of the book. Her parents are not her biological parents. You're thinking, was it a botched hospital birth? Was it adoption? Was it switched at birth? Was it something malicious? What's going on? And you learn very quickly that how people present themselves is not who they truly are. And it gets really crazy really fast. Now, there is one trope that almost made me stop listening, and that's just the trope of the sister of the main character who needs to be in everybody's business, and she wants to be the center of attention. And she just feels like, everybody has to listen to me, what I say. They should hear me. They should validate my feelings, no matter if I'm inconveniencing this person. Like, I want to be right. I want to be the first to break the bad news. And I want you to listen to me, even though I'm super annoying. And that's a trope in a lot of books that really will make me go, okay, I don't want to listen to this anymore. But I stuck through it, and it was totally worth it. I gave it 4 stars because, again, this book was a little bit far-fetched as far as how real is this. But I don't read books for reality. I read them to escape. So I can't judge it that hard. But it was one of them books where at the end I was just like, this could have happened. But did it really? Did it really? Next up, another 4-star is The Last Widow by Karin Slaughter. Karin Slaughter has a lot of books that I've read. She has a dark style. There are trigger warnings all over a lot of her books. And this book wasn't as graphic. If you've read Karin Slaughter, you know what I mean. This one was very realistic in a sense of what would happen if we encountered domestic terrorism in the States. And, things happen. I kind of want you to go into that one blind, I don't want to give away too many details, but basically starts off with a CDC researcher or something, medical person. She gets kidnapped in the parking lot with her daughter. Her daughter doesn't get kidnapped. She does. They snatch her up. The daughter ran thinking they wanted her. They wanted mom. So they snatch her up. Then you don't hear anything else about her for a little bit. But then fast forward, something happens and there's an explosion. There's things that happen to where we find out that they have been holding this lady hostage, trying to get her to do stuff, and they take someone else. And from there, we learn about this plot to avenge the purity of the Constitution and what the founding fathers would have wanted, all while going through the point of views of the person trying to save one of the people who was kidnapped and one of the kidnapped people, as well as one of the agent's partners. So there are a few different point of views. There were a lot of characters that sometimes I had to be like, okay, wait, who is that? Who is she again? Why? I thought she was kidnapped. No, not her. Okay. So there was a lot of puzzle pieces to follow, but it wraps up very nicely, I will say. And it's a part of a series, but you don't have to read it in order. It's the Will Trent series, and apparently it's a show. It was adapted into a show. Didn't know that, but great read. I gave it 4 stars. Again, some of the puzzle pieces it was just a little bit too many for my brain to keep up with. Last but not least, It Had to Be You by Mary Higgins Clark. Now this one was interesting. There are 2 twins, two brothers who are twins, and they are about to go off to college. They graduated from college. 2 twin brothers who graduated from college, and on the night of their graduation party, both of their parents are murdered in their house, cold blood. So automatically, the police blame them because they have motive. There is motive. So the police blame the twins together. They think that they worked together to do it. And then the twins blame each other. And of course, none of the cameras worked properly that night. Nothing that would have helped them solve this crime was the way it was supposed to be, as crimes are in books. And with the help of a true crime podcaster, because it's always a podcaster, and their little sister, they revisit that night and analyze what happened in order to find out who really killed the parents. Was it one of the twins? Was it both of them? Was it somebody else? Was it the daughter? Was it the podcast? It wasn't the podcaster. Wouldn't that be crazy? I like those kind of like suburban thrillers where there's a lot at stake, but at the same time there isn't. Like, this neighborhood is shook by this murder because it happens in like in a secluded, wealthy area. And one of them, this would never happen here. Well, it happens. It's a good book. I gave it 4 stars because some of the resolution just felt a little bit rushed. I felt like there could have been a little bit more of having that fleshed out, the last act fleshed out a bit more. But I would definitely read it again. and I recommend it. And those are my reads. I mentioned my Goodreads profile. If you're on Goodreads, go follow me. My link to my Goodreads is in the description box. And I also post my reviews to my stories on Instagram as I read them, because I'll go through an audiobook or two a week. If you're not following me there, that's a fun place to be, to talk books with me. I love book recommendations as well. Like I said, I like mysteries, thrillers, Black contemporary fiction. I'm trying to read historical fiction a bit, but it's give me. I read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and then I didn't read any more historical fiction. So if you have any book recommendations for me to check out, leave them below. And let me know if you're going to check out any of the books that I mentioned. If not, you know, this was fun spending time together. Really appreciate you making it to the end with me. Comment some book emojis below if you made it this far. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.